Join can be a pretty hard command for some people who are just starting out to use CAD, especially when you get to working with contours. So I'm going to just go to this blank drawing over here, and I'm going to kind of illustrate an example. So if you have a situation where you have two polylines that are like this, and you try to do a join, it's not going to work. And the reason why it's not going to work is because these two ends are not connected. So you always want to make sure that you use snaps so this kind of thing doesn't happen. The other thing that could possibly happen where it won't join is this type of situation, where the lines just are, there's a little space in between here. So this is very similar to the previous situation. Again, it won't join because the two ends are not touching. And then another situation in which it won't work is if these two lines are not coplanar. So maybe it appears that they are touching. So you notice that I've actually snapped. And maybe we have been working with contours. Maybe these are contour lines. Meaning that if they're contour lines, they probably have an elevation assigned to them. So let's say this one is maybe at elevation 100. And by accident, and this happens a lot, and this one happens to be at elevation 2, or say 110. So obviously this is the same situation as the first two we looked at. The ends are not touching. But here it looks like that they're touching. But if we look at it in 3D, so I'm rotating this now in 3D, you can see that they're not touching. They're not coplanar. So that's what it means when something is not coplanar. So you want to make sure that things are touching. So for this particular chapter where we're doing a lot of 2D drafting, this may not be relevant, but when we get to contours, this is going to be very relevant. Many of you will have this type of situation. You'll try to do a join, and you're going to wonder why your contours are not joining, and this is why. You're trying to join contours with two different elevations, and it's not going to work. Another thing that can prevent a join from occurring is if the object is not a polyline. So for example, if I'm trying to join this arc with a polyline, it's not going to work because this arc is not a polyline, it's an arc. So to fix that problem, all you need to do is type pedit again, select the arc, and when you do so, it's going to ask you, it's going to tell you first down here at the bottom, object selected is not a polyline, do you want to turn it into one? So of course we're going to want to say yes, and the default is yes, and press enter, and then now we're presented with this list where we can join, and the join should be successful.